Hey, Facebook Nation. It's your girl Jamaican Joan with a special broadcast tonight. I want you to keep it locked. Don't go anywhere because we are going to be right back. Welcome back to a special edition of the Joan Henry Show. I'm your host, of course, Jamaican Joan, and let me just use this time once again to say Happy Women's History Month to all you beautiful ladies out there. And I have with me tonight Miss Dominique Briscoe, um, very special lady, very special lady. And so I decided to go outside of my regular Thursday program to host this program with her tonight. Okay. So thank you for tuning in. And whether you're watching the live or watching the replay, just know that I appreciate and I thank you. Thank you whether you're watching from Facebook or if you are in YouTube, wherever you're watching from. Thank you for tuning in to this special edition of the Joan Henry Show as we celebrate Women's History Month. Now, I'm coming to you tonight because I received a call from this amazing young woman here, Miss Dominique Briscoe. And after a long conversation, I've decided that, okay, we're going to go live to help her get her message and her point out there. So that's why we're here tonight. So to kick things off, Miss Dominique, welcome to the Joan and Show. How are you doing today?
I am good. I'm wonderful. Super excited to be here. I love your show.
Okay, so before we, because I have a few questions for you, Dominique, but before I get into asking all these questions, can you please share with the viewers a little bit about yourself? Give us some background history on yourself.
Um, I have a congenital hearing loss, and congenital simply means that it occurred from birth. And so I grew up in a family of hearing loss occurrences. My father, my twin sister, cousins, aunts, uncles, and my grandfather. And so I learned in my life that because of that family upbringing and the type of upbringing I had, I was just in a very comfortable space with the hearing loss in my life, in my younger life. And then in adulthood, that changed a little bit. The reality set in of not no accommodations that are not always made. I really realized how blessed of a childhood that I had. And so over the past years, I've met a lot of friends who have actually come into hearing loss at older ages, and they are beautiful people, but their experiences are so different. And what I've thought about over the past couple of years is my longing for more hearing loss friends, more people who could understand my walk, understand the struggles, talk with me through my hardships with understanding. And so I went through depression for a few years because of it, because hearing loss people do so much self questioning and they do so much hesitancy because of it can just be just one single one on one conversation that throws people off. It caused me to really lose some confidence that I had gained from that childhood and that family. And so over the years, I've just decided to start up a business that would start to give an educational enrichment tools to those who have a hearing loss. And so that's where I am today, trying to fill the gap and build hearing loss relationships that stand the test of time. My father's relationship with myself my cousins, my sisters, those in my family, they give me my foundation. They stand the test of time. And so when I come upon my people who came upon it in older years, it just strikes me as isolation that they're living in, because their families more than likely just don't understand these changes. And so that's where I am now. I just want to relay to the public a little bit more of what they could do. And I also want to relay to hearing loss people the importance of creating those circles.
Okay, awesome. So, viewers, so we are going to be talking tonight, obviously, on the topic of hearing loss. And with this being Women's History Month, I do believe that every woman should be given the opportunity, to be accounted for, to excel, to grow. And so we're going to dive into a few questions that will hopefully help to bring about some change in this community, the hearing loss community. So to kick things off, my first question for you, Dominique, what has prompted you to make this commitment to the hearing loss community?
Um, I've always been an optimist. I'm a very optimistic person, and I'm a go-getter. I've been a real estate agent for 15 years, and I learned the importance of being respected in the workplace. When you have clients and you build relationships, they may possibly change to accommodate you, as opposed to my teaching career, which did not always give me the leverage in government sector working that I needed. And so I just, something in my heart wanted me to prompt people with a hearing loss not to be scared to try business, not to be fearful of entrepreneurship, and to help them understand that that could be something that minimized down that those depressive states that you might find in a job, And so I went through discrimination as a teacher, and I did file grievances, and I've worked with the special ed population. But what really prompted me was just the difference between those work environments and how they affected me emotionally was horrific in the governmental sector, but it was tremendously enlightening in the real estate sector. So I know that I can't go and tell everyone to go be a business owner. I know that I can't tell people to try entrepreneurship and get them into things that's not in their heart. But I do want to push them to strive a little more to come out of isolation, to meet, to mingle, to network, because what has prompted me mostly was content creation. I did this for marketing in real estate. And so I just started developing that same content for hearing loss, closed caption. Leave your closed caption on at a party. I would put something up there on my Facebook page. And I just began to get a lot of feedback like, hey, Dominique, my aunt really needs this. I'm going to remember next time she comes over for Christmas to leave the captions on. I hadn't even thought about that. And so just that content creation, bang, I just decided to transfer that energy from my real estate background to help the hearing loss community.
Okay. And thank you, Jason, for watching from the Philippines. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any question or comment, please feel free to drop it in the feed. And thanks to all those who are watching. Again, tonight we are talking about the hearing loss community, which we believe is not getting enough attention. So we want to try to, draw a little bit more attention to that community. So for my viewers, Dominique, are you able to show the device that you're using in order to hear what I'm saying to you?
Yes, for sure. So right now, even today, most platforms are not closed caption. And so I realized this when COVID-19 set in and the world went virtual right before, as everything was placed on Zoom, Skype. And so what I found was Google Meet And Google Meet is actually the same thing as Zoom, but Google Meet actually provides great captioning. So everything I'm saying right now is coming up along the screen as I talk. I am not logged into a Google Meet conversation. This is just me using the app from one side as if it were a translator too. There are translator apps, but they are not good. I've been through every translator app on the internet this year in my search during the COVID-19 pandemic to find a great app to get out there. And this is what I really can vouch for. I would really ask that a lot of employers even consider it. I have a daughter who her PTA meeting was held on Google Meet, and I have to tell you, I was so relieved, just relieved that they picked this platform. Now I can sit here and I can pull it up myself, but if it were in front of me and I was using just one device, that would be so much more comfortable, convenient for me. But I will use it. But this tool right here has helped me to watch movies with my daughter. It has helped me to have conversations in a room of people that I usually cannot conversate with. It's just been a great captioning tool to get every word in front of me and just to just enlighten me, lifted up my spirits that something could be a voice to text translator successfully.
Okay, awesome. And thank you, Jennifer, for tuning in. If you have any question, please drop it in the feed. We're talking with Miss Dominique Briscoe, and we are talking about the hearing loss community. So, Dominique, tell us what challenges, I shouldn't just say what are some of the challenges do people with hearing face while communicating? What are some of those communication challenges?
Um, I think right now the biggest challenge that people face is the lack of understanding that a hearing aid is not the same as eyeglasses. A hearing aid does not make my hearing 100%. It increases the volume, but it doesn't make my hearing loss disappear. It's not in place ears. It is an alternate to turn the volume up in your ear and try and make it and create the best pronunciation as possible. And so I think that when people watch a person with a hearing aid, or I'll say not that I'll say, say for instance you have family members with a mother who's just gotten a hearing aid, they really expect her. Now you have your hearing aids. Why can't you hear the family? Hearing loss is omnidirectional. I can't tell if a bus is coming in front of me or behind me. I can't tell if a TV is on in one room or another. So I don't hear sound by directions. I think that's the second thing that people can help to understand. So in that case, always look directly at a person that you're talking to. Try to use some body language. If for instance you might say, "Wow," "Yay," and just pump it up a little bit with the body language, and with that, they confirm that that's what they heard. You understand? And if you
Oh,
say, absolutely not, no, no, then they say, okay, I didn't hear that wrong. You understand? Or they get a sense that they're connecting with you. So a lot of what we use is in our eyes. So we are looking for that person to person connection. If we don't do that, if you are a vague around the world person all around the room, you get to me, you barely look, but you look away, you're asking questions, but you really aren't in tune with me. As a hearing loss person, I am going to move on very quickly because I need to get a sense of you. I need to um, I'm going to observe you. And if your eye contact is not good, then that's not good for me because you're not going to be able to catch up on my needs. That's just something over experience that I've learned. And when you're when people are doing virtual meets, it's so good to use the chat for very important points that you make in a meeting. If you're having a meeting and you're giving business tips, put every business tip in that chat for a person. If you know people may share that they have a hearing loss in that group. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to go to a group that uses a chat. Even sometimes I have a group I attend. I don't, and I use my Google Meet with it, but a lot of times the conversations are happening in the chat, but the presenter is on the Zoom screen. And so that makes me feel so involved in it. I respond back. So with the hearing loss, we use sight visual words and we use writing a lot as well. If you are servicing a hearing loss person who has a mask on, if you really want to be a great employer, please keep a notepad and a pen beside your register. And just if they say, I can't hear you, just write it down and say, look, read that. They will have no offense with you. I promise you, because you're helping them. I went to U-Haul last year when I was moving. And the young man, I told him, I cannot hear very well, so I'm going to have to lip read. And it was during COVID. He typed everything into my notepad on my iPhone. And I left there with so much clarity. There is so much that we miss, and we're not going to say it. A lot of times we get whatever we need or we feel we have the vital information. But a lot of times we may miss things. I had a doctor appointment last week, and he didn't have a pen and paper. And my reception wasn't working with the Google Meet because of the location. And it was the worst doctor's appointment ever. It was so much that I didn't hear. And when they gave me my written report afterwards, I just screened every word and I just looked back over it because they had on masks and they still talked to me through the mask. Nobody went and got a sheet of paper. The printer was right there. They could have pulled out a piece of paper from the printer and wrote a on a piece of paper. I think that would be my biggest takeaway, that electronics and voice to voice is not our strongest tool. So if you really want to accommodate hearing loss, consider keeping a piece of paper with you and a pen, just a small pad in case you run into somebody at a party that has a hearing loss. You would be a super employer if you kept it beside your register. So we're just not in tune yet. And believe me, we have been looking for the apps that will translate it all there, where we can just hold our phone to a cash register and say, hey, can you do this to a cashier? And they say, sure. And we're looking, like I said, Google Meet does very well. But for people that are not technology savvy, I think that's what you could do. And just I would say the last thing is that the community needs to just be a little more empathetic to hearing loss. It goes back to what I said at first, that people think a hearing aid makes me 100%. If you just understood that, then you would understand, but she still might miss it. You understand? And that might take your tendency to rush through, your inability to slow down. It might decrease all of that down and make you understand from a realistic point where that person is.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Auntie Pauline, for tuning in. Thank you so much. And so as I'm listening to you, I want to use this time to make a plea to all of my network that we do these conferences from time to time, different virtual conferences, because that's where we are now in the virtual world. If at all possible, please find a way so that you can have some kind of closed captioning for your conference. This way, you're not missing an entire community because we're not communicating to them. So, this is information that I'm learning from right now that I will do my best to, for my conferences to make sure that I'm not leaving anyone out because I didn't realize that closed captioning was like this important. you know. So having learned what you're saying from what you're saying now, I'm really asking everyone, if you're having an event, whether it's a conference, a church, meeting, whatever it is that you're doing, just try your very best to try to have closed captioning so that again we can capture, everyone can participate, because I did not realize that the hearing loss community was so, not being involved with so much that's going on, only because of the situation. So with that being said, thank you, Ashley, for tuning in. So in your own words, because I could make the plea for you, but in your own words, how can how can we help the hearing loss community during virtual meetings?
Um, so here's a thought, and people don't think about this. Uh, the most the most disastrous meetings on virtually for me are when people stand so far back from the camera. Like your positioning is perfect because people are able to read your lip. But when people stand too far back and you can see down to my waist, or if I'm all the way to the back of the room and talking from the camera, the closer up that you can come is awesome because we are reading your lips because there is no caption. And most people use captions too, even though they're not on the platform. Some people aren't diagnosed with a hearing loss and they just use captions out of habit, So again, that's where you can put those pointers in the chat for virtual. You can also, as I said, use nonverbal language, gestures, yes, that body language to communicate. And also you want to, because we use our eyes, we I guess you don't want to distract them from watching your lips. So it's also important that you don't wear too much contrasting colors. And I'm just talking about when you're looking at your skin tone and what is contrasting to your colors, because we're looking with our eyes. And I'll say this. So in order to understand that, we never look away, our eyes stay there. But the average person can look at a Zoom meeting and your eyes can be here, but you're still listening. Did you get that? You're talking and you may be talking to someone here at your home, but your eyes are still everywhere, but your ears are receiving. We don't look away. And so if you have different distractions in that may kind of cause us to look off away from where you're talking. That's not as important because of course if we want to read and understand, we want to keep it focused on you. I think the major thing is just positioning with virtual meetings. If someone is standing or talking too far back, I totally turn it off. I don't even try. Or that also watching the eyes of people as the presenter. If you watch your people more closely, you will see who's not following. And I don't know if people do that. When you host a Zoom meeting and everyone is, I know teachers may do that in virtual learning, but that's a great way for you to speed up or slow down because you may have a hearing loss person that's sitting there. And if you looked at different facial expressions, you'll see and they're not keeping up. Oh, what did he just say? You're seeing that. So if you could take time sometime to look at your people, and if someone has a hearing loss, invite them to come on, or invite them to be videotaped so that you can see that they're following. And that's a great silent way of following a person to make sure of the pace that you can go. So I think that's the biggest tip is just watching facial justice because you can read people to see she's not keeping up with this.
Right. And Jennifer just added something, and I'm just going to read the ending of what she said. She suggested one speaker at a time and for that speaker to be patient. So that is a great tip, Jennifer. Thank you so much for your input. That definitely adds to what Dominique is saying. So, Dominique, with that being said, how has the hearing loss community adjusted to virtual living during this pandemic?
um, so adjusted or okay, so the adjustment has been there, but it's not been well.
Mm.
It's not good. Um, Among my friends, I don't see a lot that still want to come forth for virtual meetings, And then we even think about on the context of kids who have a hearing loss, who are sitting at home virtually learning. Are they being reached? All of this um, inability to join in is very disheartening, and it creates isolation. So, and I had that experience when COVID first hit because I'm all over meetings, I'm everywhere. But when everything went to Zoom, I couldn't go to church. And I didn't go to church for 4 months. And I finally reached out to my pastor on Instagram and I talked with him. I made a video and he was so enlightened. He said, we're going to change this. And we talked to some people and we got it captioned. But I know everybody is not as proactive with that. Some people are just going to turn it off, but it hurt me that I couldn't go to church. It really did. I would say 3 months, a good 12 weeks. Just when are they going to put caption up here? And so it does make you withdrawn. Withdrawn is how the hearing loss community feels right now. They've adjusted by being they you know what they're so we have groups and we laugh and we joke about it. So I think that it brought about the comical era of a hearing loss in our community for us to find a way to joke about it, but we're still not there. We're still not meeting. We're still not getting to be on it. We're still not getting to hear it. And so the adjustment has not been good. Even in my group of 15 people, I only have two that want to come on to even Google Meet because they don't like virtual platforms. Our one-on-one in-face contact is our lifeline. It is because it's our assuredness that we are hearing exactly what's said. The mask over my face. I take my daughter grocery shopping with me, and it's never been more depressing because I can't ask her to remove it. I don't want her to. And a lot of times I'll just say, get what you're going to get, and I'll tell you in the car. And I'm walking through the grocery store totally quiet. Um, I am, I can't hear people with masks on. I might stop and my tire is shot, whatever. And I'm still trying to communicate with people that have no understanding of how to do this because it's just not been solved. It's not been solved. And so how we are coping is adjusting is I'm hoping that hearing loss people are meeting other hearing loss people. Honestly, that's the best way. Like I met a young lady and she taught me how to add voice over a voice over feature from Word to my Zoom meetings. So if someone is having a Zoom meeting, I can open a Word document too on in my own house and it will dictate across the screen to what's being said. And she also talked about how she's asking some of the presenters beforehand to always do slides. I love PowerPoint point slides because they tell me where we are. Some people don't hate them. We're in this age where please don't do a PowerPoint presentation, and we're all yelling, please do a PowerPoint presentation, because the PowerPoint is going to give us all the words. It's going to give us the scoop. We can sit there. A speaker can go in and out. We might miss something, but what's on the PowerPoint is what we needed. So what we're doing to really adjust is it's a struggle. It has really created a struggle. I can't even say adjusting because even in my group that I put together, I'm trying to continually pull them into some hope. I'm trying to continually interact and be a lifeline. Happy Monday. Give me a funny story. What's the great thing about your day today? How are you guys doing? It's Saturday. What's up? Because I want to pull them out of this isolated world. And here's the thing, too, the household that we live in, those people have to be accommodating and understanding as well. So if you're in a household with a wife who's so tired of your hearing loss, and now you're in a pandemic, you're probably not talking to her to tell her what you need, and so it's a lot of adjusting, a lot of hesitancy, and a lot of self doubt being created because our method of communicating that we became so assured with, mouth and lip reading, is gone and is taken from us. And so it is a little overwhelming. So as far as adjusting, it's it's a big struggle, but hopefully we're getting over that.
Okay, so with that being said, I must ask this. So, how does society treat hearing loss persons with hearing loss?
Um, I think that society doesn't give people with a hearing loss the benefit of the doubt. That's what I would say. I think you look to me and actually think I'm trying to bother you by asking you to repeat yourself. Why would I do that? You know, some hearing loss people do have a heart and they don't actually come to you to make you upset. Understand the nature of a hearing loss, that if someone says that, mentally prepare yourself to repeat some things, and mentally prepare yourself to be patient and understanding. I don't find any patient and understanding people out here. And it's amazing because over the past few years, I was nicer about it. Maybe 10 years ago, I was very nice, but I started to get tired of it with customer service reps, and so from now on, I don't wait for people, customer service, to start. When they say, "Can I take your name, ma'am?" I say, "First, I'm going to tell you, I have a hearing loss. So if I ask you to repeat yourself, I hope you'll be patient with me." And I have learned to be very gracious on the other end to them. That works, but it depends also what company you're calling, who they hired, the age number of these people. I went to a fast food restaurant and ordered something, and the young man was young, and I guess maybe I should have been more patient with him, but he when I kept asking, "Did you get my order? This is not my order." He put his hand like this up to me and said, "Wait, wait, wait a minute." And he said, "Because you keep asking me and I already told you." And I said, "Wow." I said, "Do you see a hearing aid in my ear, sir? Have you read any pamphlet about servicing people with disabilities?" And his boss came over and she gave me my meal for free, but that doesn't take away that experience. I think we could start really with our companies and teaching them how to service disabled people, a hearing loss person, just as you would if you saw a person with a wheelchair stroll up to your line. You might put all the groceries in their cart for them. If you see a person with a hearing loss, you could say, "Did you hear what your total was? Did you hear how much your order was?" My hair is short, so everywhere I go, people see it. You see it, and they still say, "Your order is 12.71." How much is it? 12.71. I said, "I can't hear you," and so I think that's one of the biggest things, is that stop making the assumption that um, my hearing is 100% when you see a hearing aid, because it's an assistive device. It's not an alternate listening device. It's an assistive. And it's only to the extent that the hearing aid works. Some people wear really old hearing aids that's not even up to date, with the level of hearing that they really need. Some people have a hearing aid that may cost 3,000, stream to Netflix, is Bluetooth built in, and still cannot hear everything. You understand? So money has not made the adjustment for us. Hearing loss professionals haven't done it. So now we need the person to person thing to be a little bit more better, because we have hearing aids. We're trying, but we need the benefit of the doubt sometimes, and we need a little more patience, because that impatience that you present gives us another traumatizing feeling that it's our fault. And it's another struggle, it's something else to get over with. So I think that's how society treats us. No benefit of the doubt. And I think you can do that for anybody across the board. And when people tell you what they need, give them that. Don't be offended that they're telling you, I'm going to need you to speak a little lower. I get a lot of customer service agents that don't even process that. They say, well, ma'am, I do not speak very, very quickly. Okay, but I'm telling you to stop and just think about how quickly you start speaking. And that's also something you can do. You can speak slower. And, so that's just the different ways that society treats us, what we come upon. A lot of times with the hearing loss, we ask other people to do it for us. My daughter orders in a drive-through. 10 years old. She orders for me at a drive-through because people, I already gave you your order, ma'am. Okay. So just the reality of that, if I could go and have people just bring my groceries here, yes. So I think but again, what is that doing? That's causing isolation. That's causing me to be withdrawn. That's not making me a better member of society and socializing. I did that for years in my family. My family has always accommodated me, but I stopped asking at one time because I was so frustrated. And so I wouldn't join in the conversations, and they said, something is wrong. Why don't you talk anymore? And then they said, you never have to feel like that. And I think that's what society can do as well. Be empathetic. Let them know you never have to feel bad about asking me again. And you would truly find some really great friends, because it's so rare that people do that.
Okay, awesome. And so, if you're just tuning in, and you're wondering how is Dominique and I, how are we communicating? She has an assistive device there with her, the Google Meet app, and so whatever I'm saying is being translated to her. So she is. That's how she's actually hearing there. Yeah, so that's how we're actually communicating. So if you're just tuning in and wondering, okay, how is she hearing what Joan is saying, that's what's going on. Okay, and thank you, Pamela, for tuning in. Pamela also made a comment. She said that the hearing community does not understand hearing loss versus deaf. Hearing loss is an invisible disability, therefore do not know how to react to those with hearing loss. Yes, so yes, there's a big difference between hearing loss and being deaf. So thank you for that comment, Miss Martin. Thank you for adding to our conversation. So Dominique, thank you so much. I just thank you so much for enlightening us about some of these things. I know definitely myself, because I really wasn't that. I know of hearing loss, I know of deafness, but I really honestly did not think as deep as I am now that we're talking about it. So thank you for
Yeah.
even educating me on this. So repeat for us again, why is closed caption so important?
Um, Closed caption is important because we are visual. We need visuals. Closed caption gives us visuals. And it's also important that it's among technology platforms, because it's been on televisions for decades now. So we are looking for it on these technology platforms. It's so important. and it's important too because closed captions opens the door to communication for us. That's what it does. And so when we've had for decades and we've become comfortable with closed captions on television, and now we come to Facebook Lives, YouTube videos, and there's no closed caption, we are disheartened. We are disgusted because it just simply should be there. It simply should. Because if the television world can make it happen, then the internet can make it happen. If the television can make it happen, then Google Meet as they did, and Zoom and Skype can make it happen as well. So you have to understand that captioning provides our ability to not struggle with pronunciation. I might hear a presenter say, the grass is green, and it does not come out like that at all. I can take something away totally different. And that might be her most important statement that she had for everybody to hear. But if I'm disconnected with that, um, I did a meet a while ago and there was no captioning. And we were talking about my church sister who had passed away. And everybody was given a word. Everybody would come in on the Google Meet and give a word. They thought of this person. And I had to wait till last. And I didn't understand at all what they were doing. So I missed the entire genuine moment. You understand? I missed that moment.
Yes.
But if that had been typed into the caption, please share with us one word about this young lady, then I could have heard virtuous. Wow, she thought she was that. So she's been that for you. It would have been a more interactional experience for me. So captioning is important because it keeps us in the loop. It keeps us interacting. It helps us to feel like a part of it. No one wants to struggle through an entire service, any kind of service. We are there to enjoy it just as other people are. And I think that just because we recognize hearing loss, we should recognize closed caption.
Okay, awesome. So, are there any resources that you have to share to those who do not have, to those who do have hearing loss, or those who would like to know more about the hearing loss? I write this long question down, so let me just repeat it again. Are there any resources that you have to share for those who do have hearing loss, or those who would like to know more about hearing loss? Because obviously you have embraced this, and I could see where you're trying to make a difference. So what are some of the resources that you have that you may be able to share with us tonight for those who are looking for that kind of information?
So I've said that the Google Meet app is been life changing for me. It really has. And I would really encourage anyone to use it, not even for meeting, but just turn it on as a translator tool. Like I said, my daughter and I can watch movies together now, even if I'm just having a day of just out of focus and we're eating breakfast at the table. I can turn it on and understand every word instead of having to ask her to struggle to say it again and again. And so I definitely vouch for the Google Meet app. I also vouch for um, hearing loss people to be more proactive in setting up texting circles and Facebook Messenger groups. And I don't mean groups on Facebook. I mean Facebook Messenger app groups that you can communicate with your family, or texting groups. In my life, I have two sides, my mom and my dad's family. And I'm on my texting string with both my father's side and another texting string with my mother's side. And so, because we are texting, I never miss anything. But if we were to go to dinner, there wouldn't be an efficient conversation that I could join in. So, those kind of tools, the texting tools, help us to get to deal with that isolation. It prompts us to talk because we don't have to hear and use our ears. So it takes away that fear of not hearing people so you won't talk. It helps us um, to avoid withdrawal and just hesitancy. You're never on a text message going to say, "What did you say?" You're just going to look back and you're going to look at the previous message. So I would encourage people at the hearing loss community to please, if you have some Facebook friends that you just connect with, ask them, can you put them into a Facebook Messenger group? Tell them you can leave at any time, but then you could start your genuine connection to talking to people, and it would get you off the phone and it would get you off of the camera and away from their voice into Texas. So that's my biggest resource is how to start the community into growing and continue socializing so they won't keep going in and withdrawing. And I definitely think, and I started a group, Just Justice for Hearing Loss, in August of last year, and it has been heartfelt, mind blowing, inspiring for me. Never. And these are all people who have a hearing loss, but they are sharing their stories. They're becoming great friends. And it is truly what I've been looking for my entire life. But the best thing is, on this circle of hearing loss people, guess what we never say? What did you say? You understand? So
Okay.
it's awesome.
Okay, awesome. So that's Dominique's email that's scrolling on the screen right there if you want to get in touch with her. If you have a hearing loss and would like to get in touch with her so you can become a part of her community, what she's basically asking is to for us who are doing conferences and whether it's a church service or for us who are for us who are embracing the virtual world to please try to use closed captioning for those who are unable to hear so that this way they can they can say they can get involved. Let's not count anyone out, viewers. I mean, no one get up. None of these ladies, I'm sure, are gentlemen who may be experiencing the hearing loss. None of them get up one day and said, you know what, I don't want to hear today. No, these things happen that, that's a part of that's, part of their journey in life. They are part of that is their community in life. But at the end of the day, we all are one. We are expected to bless each other. So anything that we can do to help a brother, to help a sister, we are going to do that. Count ourselves, I guess I want to say, lucky that we can hear and we have all the hearing going on for us. But unfortunately, that's not the story for everyone. But not because that is not your story, do not hack so high and mighty that you feel like you're just going to kick the other persons to the curb. Because one thing in life, we just never know what the next minute, what the next hour is going to bring. Okay. A lot of people suffer hearing loss, not necessarily because they were born with it. So you don't know what life holds for you down the future, So be careful how you treat people. Don't try to just kick people to the side because you got your hearing and that's not your issue. No, we have to embrace each other. We have to find a way to support each other. When Dominique reached out to me, I was a bit nervous when she told me she said the hearing loss community, and I'm like, okay, how am I going to assist with that? And I was like, oh boy. So we had a Zoom meeting, a private Zoom meeting where I said, let's try to
Yes.
figure out how I can support. And if this is how I can support, to bring her to my platform to speak to the rest of you, anything that you can do to help the other person is always, always appreciated. And if this is all that I can do, I've done my piece. So I'm urging you, viewers, I'm urging you, my friends in business, try to, when you communicate, when you do business, please do not leave out those who are unable to hear. Because if you just take the time, if you just develop the patience, if you just create the avenue to communicate and let them be a part of it, they can be great assets to our business. I mean, Dominique is a real estate agent. I mean, so nothing put her in a box, put her in a corner. She's out there. She's an entrepreneur. But luckily for her, she embraces, what's going on with her here, and she tried to improve on it. Not everyone, not everyone is able to do that, because some people, they take life for what it is, or after being kicked to the curb and turned down by so many other people, they start to lose hope. And when people start to lose hope, the only thing they want to do is just sit somewhere and say nothing, just be by themselves. But
Yeah.
Dominic, I thank God that that's not your mindset. That is not your spirit. You are fighting your way through, and you're trying to create avenues for other people who are in the hearing loss community as well. And I personally appreciate you. I respect you. And I just hope that someone watching this, if you have any resource whatsoever, resources that you can share with Dominique, so as she encourage herself, build herself, so that she can help to build this community that seemed to be somewhat, kind of get put to the side. Everyone matter. Everyone should get involved. We should try to find a way to keep everyone involved. And like Pamela said, we are not looking for, we Pamela said we want empathy, not sympathy. Absolutely, we want empathy. Emphasize with each other. Be patient. Listen to the person, and not just listen and not, I'm just listening just because. Listen with intention. Be intentional about your listen. Make sure that when you're listening so that you can help them, so that you can follow up, so that there can be a communication, not just, listening just because. So, I really thank you so much, Dominique, for bringing this to the airwaves. I ask everyone who's watching, and for those who will be watching the replay, to please share this video. And it may not reach 1,000 people, but if at least one person could benefit from anything that we've shared tonight, then to God be all the glory. We have done it. It's not about, the big masses. If you could reach just one, we've done our part. And thank you so much, Dominique. And I just want to encourage you to stay the course. You're doing an amazing job, because you find ways how to get by in life with your communication and your
Thank you.
hearing. And you could have selfishly just sit there and look, I got to do this for me, be all about you. But from the moment I spoke with you, I realized that you're not just a me person. You want everyone to win. You want your friends to get involved, to be involved, to feel a part of.
Yes.
And so that's the least that we can do. So I'm asking you again,
Yes.
network, family and friends.
And thank you for having me. I appreciate
Yes,
that.
absolutely. And again, that's Dominique's number that's scrolling on the screen. So viewers, thank you so much for tuning in. Dominique, is there any parting words or that you want to share? Because I'm about to end the live now.
My parting message would be just as you just said. The best thing that I can do is to continue to get the message out there. And the best thing that we can do is share it on social media, like your video, and people can share things about closed caption. All of what I've said. If you had a great time on Google Meet and it benefited someone, throw in there, hey, don't forget Google Meet benefits the hearing loss programs with this caption. And just remember the importance of caption, because when we don't have our caption, we can't be included. So that's my ending message. Thank you so much.
Okay, and that caption is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely important. And later on in the year, Dominique, I'm going to try to do something with you inside of Google Meet. And this should be different, because it's going to be coming from someone without an hearing loss that's going to be speaking. And I want to see how this feels, to know that I have to speak politely, gently, direct, with patience, because I'm going to tell myself, I know that somebody with a hearing loss is listening. So I actually want to see how that feel for myself, because I like to practice what I preach, because here it is, I'm asking my network to do such when they have their conferences, right? So I'm actually going to schedule something with you and your group, and I want to be the speaker where I actually test this out so that I can really go back and get feedback from your audience, how that worked, and then this way I could even make a more powerful
Yeah.
impact and a more powerful presentation as I speak to my other colleagues, like,
Yes.
listen, we got to do this, because it doesn't make sense for some of us winning while some just sitting on the house. I like to see everyone in the game. You know what I'm saying? We stay long enough sitting on the sidelines, especially women. This is Women's History Month. I want to see all the women in the game. That is my goal. We all need to be in the game. We sat on the sidelines enough. It's time to be in the game. So
Absolutely.
we're definitely going to be talking outside of this. Thank you again, everyone, for tuning in. Jennifer, Pamela, Auntie Pauline, and everyone else. Thank you guys so much. And thank you so much again, Dominique. And let me not forget to thank Ashley, because Ashley, your cousin, was the one who hooked us up and
And
figured
absolutely.
that I could help you to make a difference, help you as you try to make a difference. So thank you again, Ashley, and thank you everyone. Whether you're watching in Facebook or whether you're watching from YouTube, just know that I thank you just the same. So I have been your host, Jamaican Joan. And until next time, please take care and make this $1,000,000 day. Jamaican Joan and the beautiful Dominique Briscoe, we are out. Have an amazing night.